with my chin up high. Oh, you think I'm ugly? I don't care. You think I'm dumb? I don't care. You think I'm scum? I don't care. Bitch, I make my money. Party till I die with my chin up high. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em back. Twerk like it's my last day on this earth. Let the dollar make a work. People always hating, but the more they hate, the more I work. Everybody say they're lit, but all they do is showing shit. In my street, like the slaves, bitches always kiss my feet. Stay out of my way, you bitch. I can deal with fake as me. They thought that I had stopped. It was over, I had dropped. Bitch, I had my plans out here. I'm only just at my start. You will have to kill me to make me fucking stop. I was already dead again. You can hurt me, only God. Party till I die with my chin up high. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em back. Twerk like it's my last day on this earth. Let the dollar make a work. Party till I die with my chin up high. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em back. Twerk like it's my last day on this earth. Let the dollar make a work. I ain't scared of death, but I fear damn as dead as breath. All the drugs in your face, I am blessed with the smartest brain. I remember your laugh when I was at my worst. Let me tell you, piece of scum, I'm supported from above. Your man in my DMs while you're talking shit behind my back. All the shit you said makes you look like a little bitch flathead. Your opinion, fuck that. What do I think of you? How I love in your face, bitch. If you only knew, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Party till I die with my chin up high. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em back. Twerk like it's my last day on this earth. Let the dollar make a work. Shake that money maker in my face. It's a favor. Ooh, I love your misbehavior. Party till I die with my chin up high. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em back. Twerk like it's my last day on this earth. Let the dollar make a work. Shake that money maker in my face. It's a favor. Ooh, I love you.
Hello, hi.
Behavior. Party till I die with my chin up high. Fuck 'em all, fuck 'em back.
Hi. How is everybody doing? Hello. Hi. I gotta be able to see the chat here. What are we doing? What are we doing? Pop out chat. There we go. Now I can see you. Hi. So, things have been interesting. And I figured with the little bit of energy I have right now, I could try to do some quickie catch-up stuff. Yeah, anybody that does super chats, I'll read them at the end. If you do the link in the description, then it should do cool Cat TTS. But super chats will get a different voice because the TTS software doesn't understand super chats. I watched 28 Days Later. Sorry, years. I watched 28 Years Later. And overall, I kind of fucking liked it, okay? So I'm a big fan of the original. The original film was shot using like really early digital cameras before it was even feasible to do that as an alternative to film. And because of that, even in the highest quality version you can get, so right now, like the Blu-ray, it looks pixelated as fuck, but I'm okay with that because it was the style at the time. People had onions on their belts. But yeah, the score in the original film from Clint Mansell was incredible. It's been used to death at this point. I think like fucking Kick-Ass was using the 28 Days Later theme. And so I was a little bit concerned going into this film because the composer is not Clint Mansell for 28 Years Later. And so I was thinking, okay, what are they going to do? Are they just going to try and like sloppily try to capture the same magic but just not be as good? Thankfully, the film was so different and they went in such a different direction with both the tone and also the style, but also the soundtrack. Thankfully, it was different enough that it wasn't like, okay, this is just some shell of the original. It was just a different enough movie where it's like, okay, you're doing something new. Title on the screen, good idea. That's something that I should be doing. I'll do that right now. Because I don't have to get into spoilers or anything. Title. Good idea, thank you. Oh, thanks. 28 weeks later is a piece of shit. It's a gigantic, colossal piece of shit. The only good scene is the one that Danny Boyle directed, which was the opening scene. The rest of the movie is aged like milk. If you don't believe me, go back and watch it. You might have rose-colored glasses, or you might sincerely enjoy it, but holy shit. Genuinely one of the worst aged movies of all time. The only real big issue I have with 28 Days Later is that the main girl, the daughter character, her acting sucks. Like, she's not even a real actor, I don't think. Like, I don't know if she's done any movies since. I don't know what the hell she was doing in that movie. She stank. She almost ruined it. 28 years later, in order to capture the same kind of like gritty style of the original in tone, I guess, they wound up filming it with like a bunch of iPhones that had like lenses and rigs attached to them, basically. So not just raw iPhone footage, but with some handy little tricks. And they wound up doing like bullet time, where they had a bunch of 20 iPhones recording the same thing and then just going through them in post. My arm kind of fucking sucks right now. I got my PRP injections and I'm still recovering from that, and it's probably going to be a multi-step thing, but I'll get into that at some point. I've got my notes here. Yeah, so it was basically they were doing bullet time shots, and in a movie that was trying to, if the movie was trying to be way more serious and cool, especially with those shots in particular, then it might be off-putting. It might just be like, okay, what the hell? Why are we getting like a bullet time shot for every single zombie death? But in the context of this film, like the entire experience was just so weird that I was okay with it. I was like, oh, this is not pretentious. It's just weird. It's just trying to be something different. It's not like fucking Zack Snyder slow-mo shit. It's just bizarre. And I liked how bizarre it was. In terms of plot, there are definitely aspects of it where, again, if it was taking itself way more seriously, then I'd be like, okay, this character's a fucking idiot for doing this sort of thing. There are conveniences that I might be more bothered by, but because it's doing this like kind of like tongue-in-cheek tone where it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be taken that seriously, I was like, okay, that's forgivable. The trade-off for that is that I'm not as emotionally invested in the film as I would be for something like the first film, the 28 Days Later. So, it is lacking in that department for me, but still the experience, like the overall vibe, was just so much fun. And there's some really, like, even despite being filmed on iPhones and despite having like a gritty quality to most of it, for those of you who have seen it, this isn't really a spoiler, but there's like some nighttime shots where characters are like running from something, and you see like all the stars in the sky and like a big colorful galaxy basically as the backdrop. And that scene, along with the music in that scene, was just so fucking incredible. I loved the experience of that. I'm going to grow out my hair a bit more. This is not its final form. I'm kind of messing around with it a bit. I'm going to try a few different styles along the way, okay? The gore in this film looks great, which was a huge breath of fresh air because I had recently watched Final Destination Bloodlines, which I just did not care for. But that was one of my biggest issues with that is like, okay, people just fucking pop. That's it. Like, ooh, they turn into goo, and that's like 90% of the fucking deaths. And it all just like looks like CG nonsense. And 28 years later, you know, regardless of how much of the effects are technically practical, I think most of it was. It looks practical. Like it looks great. The gore is really fun in 28 years later. Yeah, some beautiful scenes, beautiful cinematography at points. And the most pervasive thought that I had throughout the entire experience was like, wow, I'm watching a new movie. I'm not just watching like a rehash of something else. I'm watching a legitimate new experience. The main kid acting was good, better than good, I would say. Not like Oscar worthy or anything, but like, you know, child actor, pretty good. Let's see what else we got on my notes here. Yeah, there were some jump scary stuff, but again, didn't bother me because it wasn't taking itself way too seriously. And in the instances where it did happen, it was either like diegetic noise, like, you know, a crow or whatever. Or at one point it was like loud sounds that weren't diegetic, but were a part of the soundtrack and then carried through and continued the tone into like the next sequence. So it wasn't like Sinners, where I don't know why people are fucking gaslighting me over this. I went back to that point in the film with those jump scares. It's still terrible. People are acting like that didn't happen. Jesus Christ. Sinners, good movie, not amazing. But don't fucking gaslight me over that shit. The jump scares were terrible in that movie. Yeah, this is 28 years later is a very editing heavy film. As with many, I would say most Danny Boyle films. The editing is always a very strong voice. It's always very present. It gives an extra amount of energy and style. Makes it really, really weird, which I liked. And yeah, things were kind of like there were certain scenes that were meshed together in almost like a semi but non-chronological way. It was very weird. And I'd like to see it again. I'm not going to rush to see it, but overall, I had a really good time at the theater. What else is in my notes? The the tension was really well developed. Like the stakes were well set up. There's like a really uneasy feeling throughout much of the film. Like they set things up really well. Sometimes with just like random shots of zombies that aren't even like anywhere near the characters, but you're just kind of like showcasing that to the audience. Like, yes, these are out there. These are out there, and that's where they're going. Kind of representing the anxieties and insecurities that the characters would have as they're kind of going on their journey. Very strange. Probably going to say that a lot because that's most of how I feel about it. Is I just liked that it was weird. And the ending was really funny in a good way because the ending was kind of like an affirmation of the things that I had been feeling throughout the film. Like, okay, yeah, I think that this film is kind of going for like a bit more of a non-serious vibe. Like I'm not supposed to take it too seriously. And then the ending just confirmed that. The ending was like, oh yeah, this is kind of there's some really funny, jokey shit in here. So for now, I'm giving 28 years later, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. A 7 out of fucking 10. I thought it was good. Let's try Final Destination Bloodlines. So this one's been out for a little bit. So Should I just put spoilers in here? Because, like, what am I going to say about it? That's not really a spoiler. Yep. Wasn't a big fan of this. Did I write notes? Why wouldn't I have? Is it because my arm sucks? I might have written notes in my notebook instead of my laptop. Hold on. Ow. But yeah, my arm fucking sucks right now. Here we go. It do be in here. Okay. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Hello. Hi. Yeah, Final Destination, Bloodlines. Okay. I don't think I've rated a single one of these films in the entire franchise higher than a 4. So I could actually give my ratings right now for all of the other ones, and that'll help you understand the context. Because some people were like, they saw my rating for the new one. They're like, why is that so low? I haven't, like, none of them are good. They're not, they're not good movies, in my opinion. How come IMDb won't let me see this one? All right, here we go. So the ranking, well, not ranking, in chronological order, I have the first Final Destination film a 4 out of 10. Then I have Final Destination 2, also a 4 out of 10. Then I have Final Destination 3, a 3 out of 10. Then I have The Final Destination, 2 out of 10. Then I have Final Destination 5, 3 out of 10. So that's the context for my ratings. I'm getting to the point where, like, I'm wondering why I continue to watch these movies, because there are fun moments, you know? There are some fun scenes within the films. It's just most of the films are just not that. I can't believe every single one of these fucking movies, they spend like half of it doing boring exposition lore nonsense. And maybe if the lore was like interesting or not the same every movie or made any kind of logical sense, then it would be, you know, you could watch the most of the film being lore scenes, right? You'd be able to watch that more easily if maybe the acting was good, if maybe the characters were well written or interesting. Then it wouldn't just feel like, oh fuck, like I gotta wait until the next death. And then when most of the deaths in the films, like every single one of these films, most of the deaths, maybe this isn't the case for some of the earlier ones because I just forget some, but most of the deaths are unsatisfying. They're boring. They're person exploded into CG goo. Oh no, I fell. Oh no, a piano fell on me. Oh no, well, like, whatever. There were 2 interesting deaths in this film, and it was near the middle of the movie. And you know, the garbage compactor one, you know, still a lot of CG, but at least it, you know, had some striking imagery in a way. It was like, okay, that's an interesting looking death at least. The MRI scene in this film, that was fun. That was probably the best one. I would say that was my favorite. We got his nipple piercings ripped off. You know, the guy got crushed, and it was just like that was comedic, that was fun, and the death was like gruesome in a way. And good chunk of like practical stuff going on in there as well. But like I don't know if I can remember the other ones. Like, I just saw this movie a couple weeks ago. The other ones are just not even memorable. Like, fuck. And the entire opening scene where it's like a period piece and it's like, okay, we're in the, what, 50s, 60s or something. They're in this tower building and there's a party and it's like, oh, something's gonna happen. And of course they follow the same, formulas and tropes of the previous films. And they have like, a song on the radio that kind of matches the foreboding nature of what's about to happen. Like there'll be a song that's like, oh, falling in the lyrics, or there'll be a song that's like, I fell into a burning ring of fire, right? How many times did they do that in this movie? Like, it's it's happened in the other films, but they were fucking spamming it in this. So I wrote down in my notes, 14 minutes through the movie, it happened 4 times already. 4 separate times. Yeah, the first movie did that. It didn't happen 4 times in the first fucking 14 minutes, right? Where it's just like, okay, pick a couple. Like, like what is this? Like, it's just, it's getting to the point where it's becoming a parody of itself. And if it were more funny, then that would be great. If it were more funny, sure, have like a self-aware horror movie. Have like, turn it into Scream if you want. Make an actual parody film. They don't do that. Instead, the majority of the film still pretty fucking seriously toned. We're supposed to like empathize or sympathize with the main character's grief over people around her dying. She's such a boring character. She's not that great of an actor. Like the first time we see her, she's doing a scream and she can't scream. Like that's the basics. That's the bare minimum that that you can do when casting a horror film is get someone that can scream. That's the genre. That's the genre of the film. Right? So I don't know. She was like literally the first shot of her, she's like, ah! Like doing the ugliest fucking cringe, not believable scream. It sucked. Then yeah, the entire fucking opening scene, everything was just a CG mess. Not even include, like, ignore the deaths being just a CG mess. The entire fucking setting was. And it's like, okay, well, what is this, like fucking Laz Berman's whatever that movie was in the 1920s where everything was fucking CG for no reason? Great Gatsby, right? I'll read the super chat after. Thank you. Yeah, like the entire movie looks like shit. It looks like a film that was shot for 3D, but allegedly it wasn't. Right? Something where like the cinematography is just so not intentful. Like so not purposeful. Everything, like, it's just the framing, the cinematic language is just like absent. Like they're technically showing things on the screen, right? If you got a checklist of like, oh, here's the things I have to show for the plot. It's like, okay, yeah, you technically showed them. You're not showing it in any fucking interesting way. The acting's not good. The deaths aren't interesting outside of 2 of them. Right? And people act like, oh, you just don't know what kind of movie you're watching. It's inherent to the genre. This is just a Final Destination film. There's nothing about this genre that says that it has to be done lazily. There's nothing about that. There's nothing about this genre that says that the acting has to be bad. There's nothing about this genre that says that the lore has to be fucking dumb and boring and treading the exact same fucking bullshit every single time and wasting over half the movie doing it. There's nothing inherent to the genre about doing that. Here's what I would love to see. I would love to see a Final Destination type film where obviously the selling point is the deaths. And you can have like a fucking Rube Goldberg machine too, right? That's the selling point. I believe that other people that like these movies understand that as well. Like that's what they would say, right? I think. Right? We have one of those. You don't have the lore. Ignore the lore. Never do the lore, right? And instead, it's like 5 different 20-minute long short films. And it's an anthology project with 5 different horror directors. And it's just, hey, here's some random ways that people can die in like mass casualty events that seem like they maybe could have been prevented, but were just unlucky or whatever, right? Each of these deaths could just be a short film. And if you had 20 minutes for each of them, you could probably develop some interesting characters. You could probably showcase some like interesting concepts and settings and scenes and have interesting cinematography and just like, you know, like some actual motivated filmmaking, right? That would be fucking cool. Why don't we have that? Instead, they waste over half the fucking movie every single time going like, what's going on? What are the rules? Oh, so death, you can do this and maybe that'll work with death? Oh, I don't believe you. You're crazy. Oh, but now now that people are dying like you said, now I believe you. Like, fuck, it's so boring. It's so boring. Like, I get it. If people are interested in like the cringe sort of like anticipation of like, ooh, how are they gonna die? Right? Like, oh, you know, there's a squeamish element to that. We can still have that. That can still exist in a better movie. Don't set your standards so low. You know? Why does it have to look like shit? Why does everything have to be fucking CG? Why does all the filmmaking have to feel so fucking unmotivated? Why does the acting have to be bad? No, there's no reason. There's no reason for that. It's all preventable. You could have for what I understand about the fans that enjoy these films, you could have those things. You can still have the things you like and have a movie that isn't shit. I don't know. You're not wrong for enjoying it. I just think it's a big piece of shit. Terrible fucking music. Right? Oh man. The death scenes would be so much better if it felt more visceral, but the music prevents it. In each one of these films, the music just prevents it. Makes it feel like a big fucking cheeseball fest, right? And yeah, like even if we were to do the anthology thing, like sure, they could even be comedies too. Like it's just so dumb. Oh yeah, okay, so since we have spoilers up anyway. The mom character who was in the intro, her family thinks she's crazy, the grandma character or whatever. But then she decides to fortify in a cabin in the middle of the nowhere. Yeah. So that death can't get her for like a good 50 years or whatever. And that's the reason her family is able to live. Because if death gets her, then it goes in order and then the rest of her family, right? So she's protecting her family by being in this fortified environment in a cabin. How is it fortified? They just kind of say it is. They insist it like 5-6 times in the movie. Tony Todd's character is like, yeah, I helped her fortify this place. And they even wind up thinking it's a good idea to like go there. They're like, oh yeah, this place is fortified from death. Let's go there, and then death won't be able to get us. It doesn't make any fucking sense. You look at the location. What is there? It's a cabin, but around the cabin's like a bunch of scrap metal that looks dangerous and spiky. Like you could fall on it easily. So I don't know what that's supposed to keep out. Maybe bears. Maybe death was going to send a bear. It doesn't really explain like what was their thinking process in fortifying that cabin. Yeah, like it's a death trap property. Why would you do that? And then when she goes to visit her grandma, there's a moment where she's like, "Not today, death," and she like throws a can of tomatoes at like a light, like at a desk lamp because it was about to like burn something down in her house and like start a fire. So it wasn't really fortified at all if you're constantly having to do that. Right? If at any given moment you're like, man, have to throw a can of tomatoes, it wasn't really fortified. And then at that point, okay, how did you live for 40 fucking years or however many years? Did you sleep? Did you sleep at all? Can death not give you an aneurysm? They say, like, at some point in the movie, she's like, death's finally got me. I got cancer. I got 2 months to live. He could have given you, like, a fucking heart attack. Aneurysm or something. Like, I don't know. But the way that these films are set up, it's like death needs these things now. Death is really OCD. And he's like, no, you were supposed to die before. I got to do it now. Right? But apparently can wait like 40 or 50 years or whatever. Yeah, that made no fucking sense. The characters are stupid. I did enjoy what's his face? Did I write his name down? Eric. Eric was funny. He was the best actor out of all of them. He was like the only one that I would say was like, oh, okay, you're pretty good. Yeah, his inclusion was funny. And I like that they took it a more comedic round for or comedic route for some of the scenes he was in. Yeah. But yeah, I think 3 out of 10 is a fair rating. It wasn't the worst Final Destination film. It wasn't the best one. 3 out of 10 I think is very fair. I've given each of these films no higher than a 4 and no lower than a 2. And yeah, Tony Todd was good. Not really different from other things he's done. It wasn't like, oh, the final performance or anything, you know. It was just, he was good. You know, we'll miss him. We miss him already. Personnel 5, it's Imaginary Places by Bus Driver. All right, let's talk about, I think I could, can I do this one spoiler free? The Rehearsal season 2. I think I'll just put the word spoilers there. Yeah, people love it. I'm glad it's gotten so much attention. I'm glad Nathan Fielder can like do whatever he wants now. I hope that his relationship with Paramount isn't so destroyed. I mean, it probably is. We're probably never getting the Curse season 2. If that was even a thing that he wanted to do. Like, you never know. Did I see his interviews on Jimmy Kimmel? No, I probably should. I'll add that to my list. I'll add that to my watch later playlist. Let's do that. Jimmy. I hate Jimmy Kimmel. Oh, yeah. 1 month ago. Yeah, I'll add that. Save. Fuck, I'm in the wrong account. How did that happen? God damn it. Where? 1 month ago. There we go. Save. Okay. All right. Yeah, so the Rehearsal is is like a very Synecdoche, New York type show in terms of how like meta it gets. And even like a lot of its commentary on like humans and communication and, you know, experience and fate. Also, hey, Fox and Space Show. Hi. And I think a lot of people enjoyed season 2 better. I think I enjoyed season 1 better. Like, they're both great. This one's more focused, which I kind of like. But at the same time, I also loved the like unplanned serendipitous nature of the first season. How it was just like, I think it was probably because of COVID where they might have had a set idea and then we're like, okay, no, let's just follow this crazy woman doing this thing and build a house, right? CNN interview. No, yeah, I think I watched that where he just said they're dumb. He said they're stupid or something. That was funny. But yeah, wow. It's not often at all where an artist that I love is given just complete creative freedom to do whatever the fuck they want. Where because of their draw, or maybe like, I don't know, I guess maybe their networking even, they're able to greenlight a project and just do whatever the fuck they want, which is just so cool because that's the best art, is when you don't have restrictions on what legitimately talented creative artists make. And so yeah, this was a weird experiment, a weird season. It was focusing pretty solely on like plane pilots and how their communication between pilot and co-pilot has caused accidents to happen. And so he's like exploring the psychology of that and trying to come up with actual preventative solutions to address this issue in a serious way, but also still the show is funny as fuck. And so he's trying to get all this attention, and he's trying to be taken seriously by governing bodies that he's worried won't take him seriously because he has a history in comedy and like pranking people, and he's built up an image, he's built up a brand of like someone who seems kind of untrustworthy if you were to get on camera with him. Like, what else has he got up his sleeve? Is he tricking me? Is he fucking with me? Right? He's constantly doing that shit, and now he's actually trying to create like positive change in the world. And so navigating that and its self-awareness and how it acknowledges that is really interesting. I'm just reading some of my notes over there on my laptop. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I love the music in both this season and the previous season. I love that, there's still kind of like a satirical tongue-in-cheek nature that is not quite Nathan For You, because Nathan For You was very much a parody of like shitty, like reality television, like shittier reality television than The Rehearsal. Nathan For You is like a help your business sort of thing. Everybody watch that, by the way. It's fucking incredible. Whereas The Rehearsal is like a parody of like a dramatic documentary program. And so they still have dramatic music, but it works so well for the comedy because of the satirical nature, right? It's like the implication of taking something seriously despite what you're seeing being so outrageous and goofy, right? So absurd. So yeah, I'd love to see another season of The Rehearsal, and hopefully it was popular enough that he just gets to keep doing it, or whatever he wants, whatever project he fucking wants to do. He doesn't have to keep making The Rehearsal. Like, I trust Nathan. But yeah, there's some stuff in here that like really resonated with me in like a surprising way. Where they're talking about like people who need like more clarification or communication, or like the concept of like feeling like you're misunderstood or have like a difficult time with other things that with things that other people might find easy. Like, I might have fucking autism. Like, it's pretty likely, I think. And they did this thing in episode 4 where they had like the pack, where one character, to get over his nervousness of like romantic relationships or like interacting with women in general, I guess, they had 15 people follow closely behind him and imitate his every move. And the idea was that the psychology of it not necessarily being you doing those things, but you as like a team, like it would help a person be more proactive and get confidence to actually make decisions or say things or do things because you're going through the experience with someone else. That was really interesting. And they brought it even further when they started talking about the pretense of acting, right? So I've thought about this a fucking lot before this point, and it's nice to see this, validated in a piece of media that I enjoy. The pretense of acting, it can get people to do things they normally would be afraid to do in real life. And the reason why I resonate with this is because it's the exact same psychology, and the show didn't talk about this in this way, but it's the exact same psychology of like furries, right? It's like cosplayers. Like you get into the mindset of like a character, even if that character is yourself, even if you're not playing a radically different character, but it's an extension of yourself, there's still the psychology there of while you're in a costume or while you're acting, it's you, but it's not you, right? You're like given a social permission to behave in ways that don't reflect on you as your character in of itself, right? You have like an extended sense of permission to, maybe be more outgoing or more confident or silly or like just open up in general. And so I found that really fascinating. And there's even a quote that I wrote down. Maybe we all need an excuse to be our true selves and we're just looking for permission. Like that's fucking deep. That's fucking deep. And I've thought about that a lot, like before watching the show even. I've thought about like that as a concept. I think that like there's a lot in current society where people have like fears of, especially things regarding like sexuality or sexual identity or, like sometimes even something as simple as like personality. I think that the average person on this planet probably would be living their lives differently in a way that they would prefer if it weren't for some kind of like societal fear. Yeah, exactly. In the chat, like you act differently around your family members than you do around your friends. And I think a lot of people might not even have friends that they feel truly able to be themselves around, like that they feel truly not judged or able to be open around. And so the psychology of like having these people be like, oh, okay, do the things you want to do, but you're acting. You're playing a character, but then just acting it out in real life. And it's like, okay, wait. Basically, you're just like adding a layer and calling it role play, but you're still doing things yourself, and you're still experiencing the same conversation. You're still doing the same things, right? You're still learning things in the same way, but you have a layer of you have a layer of protection in a way. Yeah, and I think that resonates a lot with people from communities, whether it be like cosplay or furries or like trans people. I think that there's a lot of interesting deep stuff in this show. It took a lot less of a focus on just finding bizarre mentally ill people to make fun of, which Nathan's really good at. Like season 1 is just like, oh, we found a crazy person. Let's follow them for a while. And I love that. I love cringe humor. I love weird, fascinating characters that like, you don't have to find to be moral, just find them to be interesting, sort of thing. Like, I love that. I want to see more of that. But yeah, it was nice that the same level of like humor was still there, and maybe, you know, there's still cringe humor within there, but it feels like less, you know, kind of punching down targeted kind of stuff, which I find very funny still. I'm just like, I love all of his other shit. I found it fucking, you know, you watch Nathan For You. I'm like rewatching with some people that haven't seen it before. There's some funny shit where he's just mean to children. And it's sure unethical, but very funny, right? Yeah, and then yeah, as the show goes on, he puts himself in a situation where he like imagines himself as someone who wouldn't be afraid in the situations that he is afraid in. And I find that so fascinating. And I wonder if that's like a helpful therapeutic exercise for people in any multitude of situations. Yeah, there's still lots of funny stuff, very diabolical, uncomfortable situations he puts people in for humor, and he's so good at doing that. Yeah, it goes into autism stuff. It goes into the concept of masking, which I'm very familiar with at this point. Yeah, awesome stuff. I liked season 1 better, but I think this one, I don't know. I'd have to watch season 1 through its entirety again to be able to even say like, oh yeah, this one feels more meaningful. Because I don't even know if that's the case. Because I got a lot of meaning out of season 1 too. Yeah, I didn't find season 1 to be devoid of substance of any kind just because it was doing cringe shit. So yeah, love them both, but I think season 1 takes the cake for me. I'm going to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to talk about Hurry Up Tomorrow, the fucking weekend piece of shit. I'll be right back.
Matt!
Yeah?
Update day!
What?
New Wii titles.
What? I'm in the bathroom.
Update day for the Wii shopping channel. It's funny because normally they do it at midnight, but it's like 11. It's like 11:15. What time is it in Japan? Fucking turn that up. I love that grooving. What kind of music is that? Like a bossa nova beat? Makes me really want to just croon it. This is such a danceable song. You know what we should do? We should write a song for our act with titles of Wii games.
Oh, I like it.
Because everybody knows about the Wii shopping channel,
Yeah.
and everybody loves to shop on it every Wednesday. So what we'll do is we'll write a theme song for the Wii shopping channel. Look, watch this. Watch this. You can sing to the titles of the Super Mario RPG, Super Mario 3, Mega Man, Neo Turf Masters, Breakin' Star. You know what I mean, Jared?
Yeah.
Like every star, you say the lyrics of the.
Let me try. Super Mario RPG, Sonic the Hedgehog, Donkey Kong 3, Adventures of Lolo 1 and 2, King's Knight, Dig Dug, Juman Fu, Harvest Moon.
Did you write this song?
Link Puzzle Pokemon, Toe Jam and Earl and Panic on Funkotron. Castlevania, Fatal Fury, Ninja Chuchu, Mario Comet, Razor Blazing, Lasers, Bases Loaded, Mega Turrican, Cybernator, Rolling Thunder, Dynastic Hero, Bubble Bobble, Double Dribble, Double Dragon, F-Zero.
I get it. You memorized the song.
F-Zero X and Donkey Kong Jr. Math, Ninja Gaiden 1, Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden 3. Cruising USA. Ah!
boy man.
I think it's Rumpel's time to spit some bars. Now, listen up. Rumpel pump. Rumpel's pimple pump. Tiny stump. Welcome to the rump. Pimple pump. Tiny stinky stump. Smells like rubbish dump. Rumpel makes you jump.
No need to sin, put it in the bin now.
What's my name?
Rumpelstiltskin.
Tiltle stilt. I love to drink my lilt. Filled with guilt, the world that Rumpel built. Rumpel pump. Rumpel pump stump. Do the Rumpel jump. Lock in with stinky stump.
No need to sin.
Hello.
Put it in the bin now.
What's my name?
Rumpelstiltskin.
Hello, everybody. I'm back. What's up? What's the fuck is up? Okay, I'm gonna take out my notes for hurry up tomorrow. Or as Americans would say, tomorrow. Sounds wrong. Okay. So this is the new piece of shit from the weekend. You know, The Idol. You might recognize him from The Idol, which was another horrendous ego project. But at least the Idol, was kind of like fascinating in a way. At least the Idol was like, you know, kind of. It was a fun train wreck to watch. Whereas this was just like the most boring fucking. I cannot believe how fucking boring this movie was. The director is someone I really like, Trey Edward Schultz, and you know, this was definitely more of the weekend project than it was a Trey Edward Schultz project. I could tell from the trailer, but you know, if this gets him back into making movies again, he decides like, hey, he wants to make some more of his own projects. I consider that to be a win. So, you know, perhaps there's some good to come out of this gigantic turd. We got a lot of spinning shots in the car. Trey Edward Schultz loves that. That was about the extent of feeling his personality in the film. The rest of it just felt like it honestly genuinely felt like he just let The Weeknd do whatever he wanted and just been like, it's your movie, your problem. And then just like threw all the footage at an editor and then didn't communicate with them and was like, yeah, you figure it out. It genuinely felt like the editor had no idea like what the movie was trying to be or supposed to be. And it was just whatever, you know, just we filmed all this footage. Just, yeah, you know, you deal with it. And then they created something out of it. Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting vanity project. Ginormous douchebag energy throughout, which is just like everything that I've seen from The Weeknd. You know, like, oh, we're gonna have a shot of me like fucking looking at the camera all fucking puppy dog eyed, and then I'm gonna like work out and do my concert, and then the plot is, oh, my concert, I can't do it because I'm just so good at it. And they're saying, no, you can't keep doing your concerts. Like, no, I'm just like, I care so much. It's people got to hear the music, man, because it's so important. It's so meaningful. My lyrics are so deep, bro. So yeah, this was like a companion piece to an album that he released. I'm never going to listen to that album. Not a fan of The Weeknd. Opening credits were still playing at like 21 minutes through the film somehow. People talk about his musical persona. I don't know too much about how much of that is a persona, because it just seems like he's the douchebag in real life. You know? He fucking ruined the Idol. Like, he took someone else's existing project and was like, "Step aside, woman." Right? How much of a character is he really playing if he just acts the same? Like, maybe that's just the people's interpretation. Like, oh, he's playing a douchebag. That's his shtick in his music. He's playing a douchebag. What if he's just actually a douchebag? Anyway, so The Weeknd obviously has writing credits on this, as well as Reza Fahim, who also did The Idol with him, so that's very funny. They decided to team back up again, because that was just such a huge success. It's insane. It's insane to me that after The Idol, there was no self-reflection. There was no like, oh, maybe we should change gears. Maybe we should learn something from the disaster that was The Idol. Nobody liked it. It was like made fun of relentlessly everywhere, critically, audience, etc. I'm pretty sure they were going to do an entire other episode and then scrapped it. They like cut it short because people hated it, right? No self-reflection. It was like, no, let's keep going the same speed. Let's keep doing the same kind of shit. But yeah, unfortunately, this was just not as interesting in even like a train wreck kind of way. Barry Keoghan's in the movie, and I was so confused by his this is the first time I've seen him where he was bad in a movie. He was trying to do a South African accent, I think, and he did not do it very well. There's a lot of implied deep meaning in this film that is ultimately meaningless. And the few elements where it's like, oh, we're trying to get at fucking psychology, bro, it just comes off as like the lamest fucking shit. Like, dude read the fucking Wikipedia page for Carl Jung and decided to like make a movie and was like, oh, this is the anima. This is your anima. And that was the character's name, right? Like, they literally named her. Yeah, they named her Anima. What the fuck? Like, dude, there's no understanding of how to create like some kind of deeper meaning layered metaphor in a film, because they're just saying it, right? They're like, oh, your name's Anima. What's special about that, right? It's like you do a film and you're like, ooh, this one's about like theoretical, like quantum physics, and that's the deeper meaning, and you name a character Schrodinger, right? Like, it's that fucking surface level and obvious and dumb, and it's not really saying anything. It's like, oh, these are two parts of his brain, man. These two characters are representing different parts of himself, and they're conflicting with each other. Yeah, it's somehow worse Kojima. Yeah, you're right. And it's disgusting, and it comes off as like thinking it's intelligent for doing that. Like, oh, people just don't understand like the deeper meaning, bruh. It's fucking surface level, dude. It's embarrassing. I've read Carl Jung. That's the whole movie. I've read Carl Jung. It's just, I can't believe it. Yeah, so some of my notes. 45 minutes through the movie, literally two things had happened. Like, I don't understand the pacing. Nobody seems to like this one either. So, I don't know who it's for. The Weeknd's acting was awful. Genuinely awful. hilariously cringeworthy at points. But unfortunately, that did not carry my attention throughout the entire film because most of it's just boring. There's like a couple moments where it was fun to laugh at him. I wish that was the entire film. But unfortunately, those moments were few and far between. So good for Trey Edward Schultz for collecting a paycheck. I'm glad to see he did not put his best efforts into this film because it would have been a waste of time. So I'm glad he kind of just like farted it out. Not worth watching. Not even funny enough to laugh at throughout the entirety, you know. Yeah. The entire experience of the film just it screams please like me. And it's disgusting. Sure, I could talk about Warfare. Extended discussion on Sardonicast. Warfare. Oh wait, hurry up tomorrow. 1 out of 10. Easy 1 out of 10. Disgusting. Almost forgot to get my rating. Warfare. I loved this movie. The new Alex Garland, co-directed with Ray Mendoza. Some people write this off as like Iraq war propaganda. I think it was pretty self-aware in terms of it communicating the senselessness of what was happening. It didn't really seem like it was trying to present the idea of like, oh yeah, they're fighting the good fight, go America, or anything, right? Like it just followed American characters. That's about the extent of that. And you know, name one war film that isn't propaganda in some way. You can't, because making a war film, you have to be providing some kind of perspective. Even without trying to, you would show certain things and not show other things. Like the type of story you go in trying to tell is inherently propaganda. So calling warfare propaganda, sure, technically, but it's not, I don't know, it's not like saying, wow, this was a great war or anything. The only thing that even came close to that was like the end credits. They thanked the squad. They were like, thank you, Team Bravo, whatever, which you should do because you're making their story into a movie. Yeah, you would thank them. That's like just a polite thing to do. So it doesn't mean, oh yeah, I support all of George W. Bush's policies that led to the invasion. And I believe, you know, like that's not relevant. Right. So, I don't even know. Do I have my notes for that film in here? For a while after I saw Warfare, the song Call on Me was stuck in my head. And that's like, what, like the only song in the movie, I think? Yeah, I think that's like the only song in the movie, and it's just at the beginning. But somehow it works really well, and it sets the tone. It's like this moment of like almost hubris, just being like, yeah, we're gonna go fight some stuff. And then they're thrust into this war where it's just like, oh shit, wait a minute, this is real life. You know, it's kind of like a slap to the face. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes Osama bin Laden in a different country. Yeah. So it's definitely not sugarcoating the experience. It's definitely not like, hell yeah, America or anything. It is showcasing the brutality of war. I love that it's pretty the majority of the film is just like one event happening in basically real time. It's 95 minutes long. And despite it feeling longer than 95 minutes, like it feels like a 2-hour long movie. Most movies that I would say feel longer than their runtime, I don't enjoy, but I understand why this one did, and it's because it's basically just all one long scene. Like it's all one act, really. In terms of like a narrative structure, it didn't try to replicate the beats of what you would want out of an existing narrative. This had other goals, right? This was kind of like an art, I mean, very much so. It was kind of like an experimental art film. It looked absolutely beautiful. Loved the cinematography. The sound design, best sound design I've heard all year, probably. Can't think of better sound design from this year. So if the Oscars does not nominate this for sound design, I'll be kind of pissed, honestly. The audio visual experience of this movie is just so fucking it's almost overwhelming, but I think it's kind of supposed to be, right? You're supposed to be watching something that feels really fucked up, and experience emotions that you may not necessarily want to be, because it is terrifying. It is like there's a lot of screaming, a lot of blood, and you're just kind of like awkwardly stuck there with these characters, just like, oh, your legs are blown off. They're just going to scream for a while, like any other movie. It's like, oh, let's get him to this thing or whatever. No, you're just kind of stuck there and he's just screaming his fucking lungs out for an extended period of time. So it's not a documentary. No, this is a dramatization. Yes. Yeah. Wow. I was blown away by this movie, much like some characters' bodies in the movie. I spent a good chunk of the movie just like grinning by myself in the theater, like, because I was having a lot of fun, because I like being shown things that are disturbing. I like being shown things that are like fucked up. I like making audiences confront something in a disturbing way, and just knowing like, damn, a lot of people aren't really going to be able to handle this. Not for the faint of heart. This is not going to be a fun movie for like the majority of people. Like it's kind of, I don't know if depressing is the word, but like it's disturbing for sure, right? So I loved it. 8 out of 10. This might be my favorite Garland. But for context, I'm not as huge on some of the ones that that a lot of people consider to be his best. But yeah, 8 out of 10. I would love to see this again. I'm hoping there's a 4K. I think there is. Excuse me. There is. I would like to get that at some point. I should buy it at some point, not now. Do not take grandma to see Warfare. Okay. All right, let's scroll through some of my other ratings, see if there's other stuff I didn't cover that I should. I just finished recording all of my fuck, my throat's dying. I don't know what it is about these types of reviews. It's just the way I project my voice. I like run it. My voice just starts dying in the middle of this. Whereas like some other fucking streams I do when I'm talking to the camera, it doesn't happen. I think it's just the way I project my voice when I'm talking about movies for some reason. Yeah, there's a good chunk of things that I didn't like do a review on. Some of the stuff I talked about on Sardonicast. Here, why don't I talk about this one? There's a film called The Reality of Hope. And this was a very fucking nice, sweet, 30-minute long documentary. It was at Sundance. And, yeah, I'm exerting my voice, I know. This is about some furries in VR chat. And it follows a furry named Hayu. And he winds up needing a kidney transplant. And then one of his VR chat friends on the other side of the planet is like, yeah, I'll give you a kidney. And it was a wholesome as fuck documentary. And it was actually really well made too. Like the music worked really well. It wasn't overbearing. I think I got some notes on my phone, actually. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so much of it is captured within VR chat, which is cool. For those that don't know, in VR chat, you can actually use like cameras in the VR game. Like you can decide where to frame shots and how to like track them, and like even do handheld and use different lenses, which I think is super cool. Lots of functionality for that type of thing. Like people are making movies in VR chat now. This film is hybrid in VR chat, but also live action. And there's some really interesting, like seamless transitions from VR chat into the real world, where they actually modeled an environment that was in the real world. They modeled that and then threw a character in there in VR chat to make the transition seamless, which I thought was super cool. There's some really cool animations. There's some 2D animations. And it's so interesting because, yeah, like when you're modeling those things in VR chat, you can consider that to be like a type of set design. And that was really well done. Let's see what else we got here in my notes. The score was good. Editing was good. Let's see. Oh, yeah, I also did... There's like an extended review of this that I did on Sarah's channel, Just 2 Film, JUST number 2 FILM. If you search that and then the word YMS, you'll find our little review of this documentary short. It's so interesting imagining someone that like is so detached from like the internet, like both furries and VR chat, that it would be interesting imagining them watching this movie and this just being their first exposure to like that type of thing existing. Like, what the hell's all this? There's like a scene where like people are teaching workout classes in VR chat. Like, oh, okay. Like everybody's just like, you can attend workout classes in VR chat. Like, what the hell? I couldn't imagine being like a 90-year-old watching this film. But it's not a bad like introduction to furries, because it really like it captures so well the like sense of like camaraderie and community that exists in the furry fandom. Like the fact that someone's literally just like, oh yeah, I'll give you my kidney. You know, I got your back. It's awesome. It's wholesome, and it's really sweet just watching you know, their relationship, their friendship, and seeing the support systems that they have for each other. Let's see. Lovable weirdos was one of my notes. Lovable weirdos. Yeah, it does not overstay its welcome. It's only 30 minutes. It was a fucking breeze. I wonder if it's available to watch now. I wonder if it's like on YouTube. I wonder where it's published. Because I heard that it was coming out in some way soon. Maybe it's on a streaming service somewhere. Documentary Plus. I think that's what it is. Documentary Plus. Is it free? Is that a free streaming service or no? Well, I guess it's probably out now. Anyway, Reality Hope. I would genuinely give it an 8 out of 10. It's something that easily could have been kneecapped by trying to make it like an entire feature-length film. But I absolutely love that they did not give in to that temptation of like, oh, we got a concept, we're filming something, we have to make a feature, otherwise no one will see it. Sometimes that just makes the movie boring, you know, when you can tell, especially with documentaries, when you can tell that they're just stretching out the subject matter as thinly as possible. No, know exactly what you're filming, know exactly the story that you have. If you can make a feature-length film that is compelling throughout, go for it. But most feature-length documentaries at this point are just stretched out shorts, and it's always very frustrating. So I applaud any documentary that knows not to turn itself into a feature. Yeah, 8 out of 10 for Reality of Hope. Let's see. Hey, did I watch The Actor? I did watch The Actor. Did I take notes for The Actor? Yeah, I did. I could talk about The Actor. Yeah, I guess we didn't even talk about this on Sardonicast. I did a watch along for this on the Watch Alongs channel. Here's my notes. Unfortunately, my biggest issue with this film is that I watched it and I did not retain much from it at all. Like, I'm, thinking about it right now, like, it wasn't that compelling, unfortunately. So this is Duke Johnson, his solo feature-length debut, I think. For sure his live-action debut. Yeah, so co-director of Anomalisa, has a background in stop-motion animation, is fantastic at that. Yeah, so this is based on a novel, and a guy is in 1950s Ohio, and he has amnesia, and he's like, who am I? What am I doing? And I don't know, like, yeah, a good chunk of it feels like a little, kind of going through the same beats and treading familiar territory as a lot of other films have. I appreciate that it was like interestingly filmed. There are sequences where like the background will just kind of like fade to black, and then he'll like go into a different scene, like he still exists in the scene. And you can even think about that as being like reflective of his mental state, his amnesia, and just like things not being clear around him, his confusion. I liked that about it. The script was not bad, but damn, it really did not stick out too much in terms of like what it's offering. Like, I never found myself being like, wow, what an amazing scene, or like what an amazing performance, or I would occasionally be like, oh, that was cool. One of my notes was chair eyeball is cool. So if you watch the film, you'll know what I'm talking about. Here's a thing that was not great about it. The action moments, any sort of like impact, not well cheated at all. Looked very fake. Neon kind of did the film dirty, yes, but I don't think that this is a very marketable film anyway. Like, what? You spend a bunch of money on advertising and put this in like a wide release across the entire country. I don't think that would make them any money, right? It's not. It's just kind of like a forgettable movie. Like, I don't know how to sell this movie. Something like even with the interesting filmmaking, like even though it's interestingly shot, it still felt like something was missing from the presentation, like the execution of the cinematography. Like, I was thinking more about like, oh, that's an interesting idea, or like that's an interesting concept, but in execution it still just felt like kind of fake. There was a fakeness that I just couldn't shake throughout the majority of the film. There was one scene where they did like a oneer, and it was kind of like a Birdman-esque scene, and it just felt so fucking pointless. Like, that was going into the realm of like, oh, that's pretentious, because it just didn't feel motivated by anything other than just like, oh, we're gonna do a oneer now. Like, okay, it was happening for like no good reason, and it wasn't really impressive. It was just kind of like, oh, I guess you just did a oneer. Like, I'm being reminded that I'm watching a movie in a way. But yeah, I'm despite it being messy, and despite me not remembering too much about it at this moment and not sticking with me, I apparently wrote down in my notes that it was not boring. Solid overall. So I guess this is a low 6. A low 6. There were some... It was engaging for the most part, but damn. I might have to drop it down to a 5 if, like, I forgot so much about it. Yeah. Let's see. Should I talk about adolescence? Is there anything to say about adolescence? I have not watched Phoenician Scheme yet. I'll watch that in the next week or two, actually. I'm num 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 num. Yeah, I mean, we had a thorough conversation about adolescence on Sardonicast. I don't know if I'd just be retreading the same thing. I might actually be doing a watch along with Torikin pretty soon. We're halfway through The Last of Us Season 2. So as soon as he sees my messages, then I might raid the watch alongs channel. So if you've never done a watch along before, the way it works is a timer shows up on the screen, right? So a timer will show up in the bottom of the screen that you're watching right now. And then I do a 3, 2, 1. And then on your end, you press play to whatever we're watching. And so if we're doing The Last of Us Season 2, we are now moving on to episode 4 is where we're going to start from. If Torikin answers his fucking phone, well, whatever. I could talk about more movies, I guess. What else haven't I covered? Let's see. You know, we talked about this on Sardonicast, but I just want to recommend this to more people. There's a 1994 unreleased version of the Fantastic Four produced by Roger Corman. And it's very charming. It's like a fun, bad movie, but I fucking loved it. And it's probably the best Fantastic Four movie, like unironically, because there's no good ones. There's one coming out soon, I guess, but like I don't exactly have high hopes for that or anything. You can find this on YouTube if you just search Fantastic Four 1994. And the entire film is do I have to search full movie? Why is this title in French? Did someone remove the other one? Damn. They might have taken down one of the other ones, so it looks like lower quality. You can find this film online anyway. Yeah, they might have taken down the other one. Do you think Disney's doing that because the new one's coming out? It's on Internet Archive? Okay, good. Yeah. Let me whip out my freaking notes. Yeah. This film had so much charm and personality. The music was surprisingly good. It was made for like $1 million. And basically the story behind it is that the studio was looking to retain the rights to the property. And so they were like, okay, who can make this really cheap? So at first they contacted Lloyd Kaufman from Troma, who I interviewed on the channel, if you want to watch that. It's old. First they tried to get Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma, and Lloyd was like, look, I'm friends with Stan Lee, and this seems like it would be a bad idea because I would just make a big piece of shit. You know, Lloyd Kaufman makes like shitty, campy, cheap, cheesy movies for sure. And he didn't feel like he could do the Fantastic Four justice. So for Roger Corman, you know, I think it was like $1 million. He's like, okay, we can do that. And the team that they got together, despite having such limited resources, managed to pull something together. And again, it's cheesy and bad. Like, it's hilarious. Like, it's so fucking 90s camp. But it's like, there's something kind of inspirational about it. You can tell that everybody involved was like trying to make something out of the limited resources that they had, even without knowing the budget going into it. It's like, okay, these people care, you know? They all wanted to be a part of this project. And again, the orchestral, am I saying that right? Orchestral? The orchestra in the score. The music's pretty fantastic, all things considered. There's a documentary on this film called Doomed. That was all right. It's not like great presentation or whatever, but that gives you it gives you like a good amount of context as to what this film would be. It's a great movie to watch with like the right crowd of like people that aren't really wanting to take something seriously. Like, you know, just like a fun laugh at a movie. There's some really kind of like what feel like gay coded villains in it. Dr. Doom is also like weirdly extra and kind of like Slay Queen energy. And it's not so explicit, but I was kind of picking that up from it. And like the sound design, he's got these metal fingies, like his glove or whatever. And like every single shot, he's always making sure to go like clack, 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 clack. And just like, it's so present in the sound design. It's very funny. And he's so theatrical, like, you will never get me sort of energy. It's very funny. Lots of stock sound effects, obviously with it being low budget. Lots of stock sound effects. And damn, like some of the final shot of the film, this isn't really a spoiler. The final shot of the film has like Mr. Fantastic like waving his fucking arm out of the roof of a car. And because it's done practically, it's literally just like, oh, they're just waving this like fucking 20 feet tall fake arm out of like a sunroof. And it's like a happy ending, like, yay, bye-bye. It's the funniest fucking shit. All of the effects work is just like, it's so charming, you know? There's something there. You know, it feels kind of dated for sure in ways. Female lead, what's her name? Susan? She's kind of useless. I mean, it didn't really improve much in the fucking 2005 version, that's for sure. But when she uses her powers, which are like force field or like invisibility, she never does anything with her powers other than like the villains will accidentally shoot each other or run into each other. Like villains will be on either side of her, like about to shoot. She's like, wait, and then goes invisible. I need to catch up on Invincible. She goes invisible, and then they just like shoot each other. I'm like, okay. There's Mr. Fantastic just like sticks his leg out, and then the villains just like keep falling over, like as if they couldn't see that the fucking 10 other henchmen in front of them had just tripped on the same foot. It's kind of funny. The Fantastic Four, 1994. I give a fucking 10 out of 10. It's one of those movies where you're just kind of like, you can't even criticize it, you know? So I'd give that a freaking 10. So what we're going to do now, Torakin has answered the call. We're going to do a fucking watch along, and I'm going to raid my watch alongs channel. I will also read the super chats that I did not read before. But we're going to set up The Last of Us Season 2. So let me raid the watch alongs channel. So you should theoretically not have to do anything. I think I can raid myself. And then I'll answer the super chat questions over there. All right, how many super chat questions are there? Maybe I could just do them real quick before raiding it over there. Yeah, let me just see. There aren't that many. Beep, 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 beep. Let me find the super chats. Here we go. Yeah, there's... What do I think of Mark Kermode's review of Synecdoche, New York? Have I read it? Okay, apparently I watched him like talk about it in a video once. Okay, I don't have time to listen to this right now. Maybe I'll leave a tab open. I don't remember. But yeah, but I mean, his ongoing feud with Charlie Kaufman is funny. He seems like not self-aware about it. It's very odd. And then, yeah, so thank you, Clank. And then Sup says, thank you, man. Thanks for getting me into movies. Thank you. Thank you. Ugly Squid says, the cut looks great, dude. Anyway, what did you think of Tony Todd's final performance, and what is your favorite Final Destination? His final performance was good. Nothing mind-blowing or anything. Favorite Final Destination would be number 2. Number 2 had the most fun deaths, and yeah. Dead Wolf. Don't ever change Adam. I'm always changing. Thank you for everything you've done. Been watching you since your Amazing Spider-Man 2 review. Thank you so much. RLXM84. Sorry to bother you as a future Sard rec. Also hyped for I Love Booster's Boots. Boots' next movie starring Keke Palmer, Demi Moore, and Lakeith Stanfield. Sure, I'll add that to my watch list. I don't know if I want to do that for a Sardonicast recommendation, because then it would just seem like I only recommended it for like one part of it that they would just judge me over. Good movie though. Yeah, I'll add his next one to oh, I still haven't seen I'm a Virgo. Maybe I should check that out. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely check out his next movie. He doesn't have like that huge of a filmography, actually. All right, thank you so much. And now I'm going to raid myself, and we can do a watch along. So get your own copies of The Last of Us Season 2 ready, and we shall watch. It was unreleased. It got released online. Sorry? What was? Oh, the 1994 Fantastic Four. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I shouldn't try to sing any songs, because I'm just going to get copyright claimed because I'm so good at it. YouTube will be like, you're playing the real song, bro. What are you doing? Quit playing the real song, bro. Yeah, we're on episode 4 of season 2. So get your stuff ready for that. I will raid myself. I think I can figure that out. Yeah, here we go. Where is that? Oops. I can do it. Redirect. There we go. I can't. There's always a song happening in my head. I don't even know if that's like a real song. There's always a song happening in my head. All right, that one's live. So I just gotta get it out. Fucking... Okay, I have to just put in the actual URL. Let me do that real quick. Dun, 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 dun. YMS watch-alongs. Have I seen the house in the house in Zootopia 2? Have I seen the house in Zootopia 2? I haven't seen no house. We need more house representation. All right, here we go. Finally, I can redirect. There we go. Have you seen this house? All right, thanks for hanging out. Stay tuned, and you'll see me in the same spot on a different channel.